This is QTV News coming to you live from our studios on Kairaba Avenue. I am Ibrahim Abalde. Thanks for joining us. Here are the main news headlines. 28 out of 32 children with confirmed cases of acute kidney injury have died, according to the Gambia Health Ministry. The cases affected children with ages ranging from 5 months to 4 years. A $5.3 million fish smoking house was handed over on Wednesday to the women fish smokers at the Bruford Fish Landing site. Bakau Craft Market vendors are complaining of poor sales as the 2021-2022 tourist season ends with little or no customer due to the lingering effects of coronavirus pandemic. Bereto Village in the North Bank region faces some challenges and is appealing for assistance for water and education facilities. In sports news, after 26 years, Hawks Football Club, one of the country's oldest football clubs, are celebrating winning the 2021-2022 Gambia Football Federation Domestic Premier League title. Those were the main headlines, and now the news in detail. Welcome back. 28 out of 32 children with confirmed cases of acute kidney injury have died, according to the Gambia's Health Ministry. The cases, which were reported from 4 health regions across the country, affected children with ages ranging from 5 months to 4 years old and is associated with symptoms such as fever, diarrhea or vomiting and low passing of urine. Mahmoud Lamin Choi reports.
Children reported to hospitals in the Gambia with acute kidney injury. The condition happens when the kidneys stop working properly, and symptoms can range from minor loss of kidney function to complete kidney failure. Dr. Abubakar Jan is a consultant nephrologist, a qualified kidney disease specialist working at the Edward Francis Small Teaching Hospital.
For the past weeks, we've been having an increased number of children coming in the hospital with symptoms of diarrhea, vomiting, and the urine output. They reduce urine output, meaning they are not making the urine that they used to do, meaning their kidneys are not working so well.
The symptoms of the illness, including diarrhea, fever, and vomiting, are not unusual during rainy season, as environmental conditions can be a major cause of such symptoms.
What is peculiar about this situation is that a lot of them come in a very bad state, and their kidneys are in a very bad state, and they tend to die from it. Even with some of the interventions that we've done, some of them didn't succumb to the disease because of the severity of the disease, and that is very frightening. So it's not unusual for us to hear infections causing it. It's not unusual for it to be maybe a toxin in the water they are drinking. Or it's not be surprising to find that there is some drugs they are taking that could cause it.
The cause of the disease is a mystery to health officials, who are currently conducting laboratory analysis of urine and stool samples of affected children. Blood and drug samples were also sent to Senegal for analysis.
Without speculating, this has happened before in other countries in the world. We know it happened in Nigeria before, in Lagos, that was found in paracetamol. The toxin was in the paracetamol that they are given to children with diarrhea or fever, and then suddenly it's causing the problem. And in some parts of Asia also the same thing. It happened in Germany before in around 2013, and they found that it was an infection that caused it in adults, but young adults. So this our own, we don't know yet. So we are trying to investigate.
The confirmed cases were reported from 4 health regions, namely the Western 1 and 2, Central and Upper River regions. Any child less than 5 years old with sudden failure to pass urine for more than a day with symptoms such as fever, diarrhea or vomiting from the 24th June 2022 to date matches the case definition for the disease.
They all they are delayed. Presentations are long, they take so long to present. And the longer it takes you to come to hospital, the longer it takes for right intervention to be taken. And so delay can be one of the risk factors that could increase the mortality. So we're advising the public that people should respond early, come to the hospital early, don't self-medicate the kids, bring them to the right institutions so that the right appropriate actions are taken quickly.
In the wake of the confirmed acute kidney injury among children across the country, the Forest Situation Report from the Ministry of Health reveals the putting up of public health interventions as preventive and control measures against the disease among children across the country. Mahmoud Lamin Choi, QTV News.
Mahmoud Lamin Choi there. Now, a $5.3 million fish smoking house was handed over on Wednesday to the women fish smokers at the Brufut Fish Landing site. Lolly M. Kamara witnessed the event and files in this report.
The event was attended by community members in Brufut and women in the fishing industry. The Director General of GAMWorks, Omar Kay, says the project was completed in a year and they are very much delighted to witness the handing over. He explains the project.
Project bi sakatuma ci place bi ni si yinjika commercial la.
This is the first place we build in this pilot project, and there are more to come under the value-added chain, which includes poultry, fishing and gardening. We want to make sure all three projects are implemented successfully, and we are thankful to Allah for the successful completion of this one.
Gabriel Bonner, charge d'affaires at German Embassy in Dakar and head of Relation Office in Banjul, explains the important role her office attaches to some of the crucial sectors like agriculture and fisheries.
The program consists, as the director of GAMWorks has already said, of a technical cooperation window of 7 million euros and a financial cooperation window of 10 million euros, and jointly implemented by the German International Cooperation, GIZ, and the German Development Bank, KfW. Together in cooperation with GAMWorks, of course, and with all the stakeholders, that means you, everybody from the community. The aim is to support socio-economic stability by improving income opportunity in horticulture, poultry, and in this case, fishery.
Sona Mane, a beneficiary, shared some of the challenges he used to encounter to smoke her fish. We used to have a lot of difficulty smoking our fish and storage. After smoking the fish and selling to our customers, some would return the fish just telling us that they are rotten. That used to be our biggest problem, but we thank these people for building such an important facility for us. Seinabu Drame, communication advisor with the ECOWAS Fund for Regional Stabilization and Development, highlighted the project's key areas of focus.
The project comprises of 2 windows, the technical window and the financial window. So the financial window is implemented by GAMWorks, which is the infrastructure part. They build the infrastructure, and we do the capacity building, which is GIZ ECOWAS. We're targeting 3,000 beneficiaries in 3 regions: Greater Banjul area, Lower River and Upper River. We're supporting young Gambians in 3 value chains in agriculture, fisheries, poultry and horticulture. So the target is between 16 to 35 years of age. Currently the applications are open for eligible Gambians. All you need is an ID to be part of the beneficiaries.
Now that the facility is fully operational, the next step will be capacity building for 40 women on how to smoke fish, hygiene and do aquaculture. For QTV News, Lolly M. Kamara.
A brilliant initiative there. Bakau craft market vendors are complaining of poor sales as the 2021-2022 tourist season ends with little or no customers patronizing their stalls because of the low turnout of tourists, mainly due to the lingering effect of coronavirus pandemic. Our reporter Omar P. Jallo visited the craft market and prepared this report.
The Gambia's tourist season, which started in October, relies heavily on European tourists, especially from the UK and the Netherlands, where Omicron's cases skyrocketed, but came down too late for the Gambia's tourist season. This has affected this year's tourist season, and vendors at the Bakau craft market, who earn a living selling crafts to tourists. When the first case of the coronavirus pandemic was discovered in the Gambia in 2020, most of the workers in the tourist industry were laid off, while hotels and resorts closed. This affected not only hoteliers, but also craft market vendors, beach bar owners, guides, food vendors, restaurants and tourist taxi operators. Some of these craft vendors who spoke to QTV put the poor sales down to absence of their main customer base, mainly tourists. Here is Seni Singate, the president of the Bakau Craft Market Committee. We are just managing, but as you can see, there is no business going on in the craft market because tourists have not been coming and our businesses are at their lowest level. Here is where we make our living, and currently it is very difficult for us. Sometimes Gambians patronize us, but they are buying at lower prices, so we are selling our products to them at a giveaway price. Mariama Jallo, a vendor working at the Bakau Craft Market, echoed Mr. Singate's statement and disclosed that due to the lack of sales at the craft market, taking care of families and personal needs become difficult.
What
we are making now is too small, but we don't have choice. We have to come to the market every day in order to be able to take care of our families at home. Sometimes we open our shops without making any sales due to the poor season. The market is boring, there is no tourist to patronize us. We are calling on the tourism minister to visit the craft market and know how we are living there.
Mohamed Lamin Suso, who also works at the Bakau Craft Market, said the business is no longer lucrative as they are no longer making sales. He believes the difficulty can only be managed by the government and adds that though government has area roll out support to them, more is needed.
We make instruments. We specialize on instrument, making instrument, kora, djembe, you know.
I specialize in making musical instruments, mainly the kora. Most local instrumentalists like Sona Jobate and even Jaliba Kuyate and many others buy their instruments from me. This year's tourist season is very slow, which has contributed to the slowing down of the business. In the Gambia, tourism is a major contributor to the country's GDP. This sector has potential for employment generation, macroeconomic development, and enhanced poverty alleviation. Developing the sector has been a major preoccupation for successive governments and those in the tourism sector. For now, no clear strategy has emerged of how best to revise the trend of declining tourist numbers. Reporting for QTV News, I am Omar P. Jallo.
Well, unfortunate there, but I hope, soon things will return to normal. We'll now go for a commercial break. When we return, we have local and business news. Stay tuned.
I'm feeling on top of the world, like nothing's ever gonna bring me down. This feeling got me flying high as a bird. I may never touch the ground. It may not be my birthday, but I just wanna celebrate.
You've been looking for the perfect indoor router with long-range Wi-Fi coverage and faster internet speed connecting all your smart devices? Well, we present to you the QCell Indoor Router, a router that has all you need and much more. For just $4,275, you can get 4G plus internet speed, wide coverage, and connect up to 15 devices. And that's not all. The indoor router can be used for both office and home needs. So, enhance your internet experience with our indoor router. For more info, call our customer care on 111. QCell, Sunubus, we innovate, others follow.
Welcome back. Bereto Village faces some challenges and is therefore appealing for assistance. Among their main woes are the lack of nursery school or school for their children to get an education. Therefore, their story is done by Don Williams and narrated by Churchill Balde.
Bereto Village is located on the highway between Bambatenda and Farafenni in the North Bank region. The alcalde of the village, Abdou Kante, explains some of the challenges the villagers face and appeals for help.
Our
problem in this village is water shortage. We thank those who brought us the first borehole. We are still facing challenges. Right now, there is no water. We are appealing to the government, NGOs, philanthropists to help us with another borehole so that we can have adequate water.
Lamin Jaite, a village development committee member, also spoke on the lack of nursery and primary school for their children to be educated. Currently, he said, most of them don't go to school because the distance to Farafenni is too great.
We have a lot of children, including boys and girls. We have a problem with their education because Farafenni is far, and they are unable to go to school there. We are appealing to people to support us because we want our children to be educated so that they can help us in the future.
Aissatou Marong, a resident of the village, thanked those who provided the current borehole for them. However, she says they are still facing water shortage.
Water shortage started when people extended water to their homes because the water tank is very small. The taps are empty by 2 or 3 p.m. So the water tank is not big and cannot serve the village. There were a few compounds here. Now a lot of people live here. We are appealing for help for another borehole.
Amin Bouch, another resident and a housewife, also spoke about the lack of adequate water supply, health center, and no street lights, which she says is important for their security.
Water shortage is not the only problem in this village. The hospital is far from us and we need a health center because there is no car to take pregnant women when they are in labor. Also, we lack vehicle to take pregnant women to the hospital. So either a health center or a vehicle will be appreciated.
For the villagers of Bereto, any help to address their many challenges will be greatly welcomed. For QTV News, I am Churchill Balde.
Now let's shift our attention to some sports news. After 26 years, Hawks Football Club, one of the country's oldest football clubs, are celebrating winning the 2021-2022 Gambia Football Federation Domestic Premier League title. As champions, the club will also represent the Gambia in the CAF Interclub Championship League competition. Aliou Cisse reports.
Founded in 1973, Hawks Football Club confirmed winning the league ahead of second place Real de Banjul after a 3-1 comfortable win over GAF, putting them 6 points atop with only a game left to end the league. It is the third title for Hawks, having won it in 1993 and 1996. This season, under coach Aliou Diagne, it secured 18 wins, 5 draws and 6 defeats after 29 games, topping the league with 59 points. In an interview with QTV at his Fajara residence, James Gomez, president of Hawks Football Club, is proud of his club's achievements as he thanks and commends the technical staff, players, fans and club executive members for coming this far.
Particularly, we are grateful to the founding father of the club, Alhaji Ousseynou Ndiaye, who developed this club with a philosophy of developing a Gambian youth, body, mind and spirit. He was the one who thought of making it possible for young people to prosper and excel in education, in employment, in football, and taking care of their own families. So if Hawks, after 26 years, is going back to the glory days, we are very, very happy and excited that there is a lot more good that will come for our club.
There have been outpouring of congratulatory messages to Hawks Football Club, including from the President and Executive Committee of the Gambia Football Federation. The club will be decorated next Sunday after their final league game against Rhino FC at the Independence Stadium in Bakau at 4 p.m. local time. Club President James Gomez calls on the public to join them to celebrate the achievement.
Well, I want everybody to come to the stadium because we are ready. We have supporters in the Western Division, Kabakel. We have some young people who are saying, we must come and celebrate with you. Even they are not supporting us. I was surprised to see the amount of support, the large support Hawks have during our last games, because we never have this big support. So we want everybody to come and be entertained so that our game as football in this country will begin to grow stronger. We have small clubs, but unless we support our clubs, unless we get the private sector to come in, then we cannot succeed. So come to the stadium and witness a crowning ceremony that has never happened in the Gambia before.
As champions, Hawks Football Club will represent the Gambia in the CAF Interclubs Champions League competition. The team will face Horaya FC of Guinea-Conakry in the preliminary round stage. President Gomez said the club is ready to give a good representation.
And I called on my executive that we will meet on Tuesday after the presentation of the League Cup, and then we'll make our plans. Like I said, we are not a rich club. People of goodwill will support us. We will put whatever we have into it, and we are definite that we will represent the Gambia fully and do our best to succeed.
Hawks is the only Gambian domestic football club that has teams competing in the first, second, and third divisions with an academy. It had and continues to produce stars that go on to play for different categories of national teams and professional football, notably Scorpions forward Musa Barrow, who plays for Bologna in the Italian Serie A. Meanwhile, Red Scorpions are also crowned champions of the GFA Women's First Division League, having successfully defended their title. Reporting for QTV News, I am Aliou Cisse.
Well, after 26 years, it was celebrating. And now, before we end, here is a recap of our main news headlines. 28 out of 32 children where confirmed cases of acute kidney injury have died, according to the Gambia Health Ministry. The cases affected children with age ranging from 5 months to 4 years old. A $5.3 million with fish smoking house was handed over on Wednesday to the women fish smokers at the Bruford Fish Landing site. Bakau Craft Market vendors are complaining of poor sales as the 2021-2022 tourist season ends with little or no customer due to the lingering effect of the coronavirus pandemic. Bereto Village in the North Bank region faces some challenges and is appealing for assistance for water and educational facilities. In sports news, after 26 years, Hawks Football Club, one of the country's oldest football clubs, are celebrating winning the 2021-2022 Gambia Football Federation Domestic Premier League title. That's all we have for you in this edition. Join us at 10 o'clock.